Okay, we're back. We're in it. Uh, this is going to be a different take because I just took another one. All right, coming in. I'm trying really hard to get away from the mouse. Still finishing up with some of the gear. Room's a little too bright, but we're getting it. It's coming together, man. We got a lot of to-do lists, a lot of things in progress right now, getting fixed, addressed with the house and whatnot. But it's just nice to see some of these items getting accomplished. I'm going to start with music first because I try to always say something about music because I love music, and but I do it at the end because that's my thought, and then you end up getting wrapped up in what you're saying, then you forget about it. So I'm going to start first with music, and maybe that's what I'll do. We'll see what's on the playlist. Well, I love this one because I'm all pretty much all '80s, which country, this, that, and the other. And I usually do a playlist at night when I'm doing my PM routine. So as I'm going to bed or taking a shower and whatnot. So, Aretha McEntire, right? Shania Twain, just playing it. And the night, my baby girl was the one doing the PM routine. And she was like, "Who is this singing?" And I was like, "Oh, come on now. This is Gwyneth Paltrow." And Karen's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I think she's a pretty solid singer." That's my opinion. And as we all know, everything on these videos is my opinion, my position. And that's no shade, no beef, right? This is just where I'm sitting in my space. I like that music, right? And whatnot. So she's like, "This is pretty good. This is sort of unique." I'm like, "Right on, right on." Well, the last couple of days, it's been the Eurythmics. And I think I'm saying that name right. Woo! That's some music. And and then the rain song, which is really what's been hit me. I'm not going to sing any of it because it's a different video list or playlist from somebody else doing videos and not me. And so today I watched the video and I just laughed, man. I was like, "Oh, this looks like they were filming Lord of the Rings before it was even a thing and made like Wheel of Time. Watch the video, right? Here comes the rain, right? Just check it out. And who's the dude with the camera? I don't quite understand what his role is in that song. He's a little bit of a creeper. But there you go. That's the song I thought I laid out the music. So what I want to talk about today, I was going to talk about, I had an idea, but then, of course, as it always is, it got changed with more just real life. And so I thought I'd come at you. Again, I was trying to be respectful, not to like too much time. So I'm going to spasm here. Give me 1 second. So, I love spasms. That's nice. Just do that on the video. That's great. That's real. He guess what? He is crippled. Oh my god. Um, Layers. We all have them. We all are made up of these levels of complexities, and I'm no different. I think the thing that I would say is that I have layers on the outside, which you all get to see real clearly. But guess what? I do have some internal ones as well, just like you. Sometimes they pop up. Sometimes they're like, "Hey, still here." I tend to call them the critic, the auditor, and well, sometimes just self. But man, powerful, right? Powerful. So, in always trying to address the external layers, which you can partly see right here, all the gear, right? All this stuff, all this, the stuff you can't see. I am pretty skilled at creating an ecosystem that highlights Todd's capabilities and that does a really good job at not showing Todd's inabilities. That's just how I've done my story. That's how I was raised. That's what I've learned. That's how I've grown. And that's what it is. And my storyline is in such a way that the ecosystem really doesn't fall apart. Yeah, there might be some maintenance and stuff, but with my craziness on redundancies and this and that and the others, I pretty much maintain a pretty good outer system, and it is pretty much in a successful state. Internally, just like the rest of us, right? working on them, dealing with them, pushing through them, and figuring them out. And I would say historically that my internals are the ones that can get me quick. And I would say that years ago, it was always related to my health. That when my health was compromised or began to fall apart internally, then I would fall apart. And all of a sudden, then I am now more disabled. And it's sad and whoopy and weepy. But I will say that for the last several years, my health is pretty darn good. So I guess that's maybe referred to as a trigger. So my health is not as much of a trigger as it used to be because I'm pretty darn healthy. Pretty fascinating when you have purpose, what you'll do to be healthier and whatnot. And yeah, sometimes with the care component, someone's sick or a shift gets missed. But yes, that can bring a little bit of at the same time, man, do I got a ridiculously cool lady, baby girl, and always in balance and always with love and always the good stuff. Babe, hey, I'll spot you, right? I'll get you up or I'll put you to bed, whatever. We do what we got to do, and that's our situation. So those aren't really triggers. What would be triggers for me, as a mid-40s dude, it would be something that like I just can't control, like something real simple, like we were working on the coach one day, and Karen hit her head, on a pop out, and you bleeding and stuff. Get all internally mad because you're the one that should be doing this. I don't know, spare all the words, and you got to fight through that and stuff like that and talk through it, this, that, and the other. All right, so here you go. As always, you know how I operate. I'm giving you the real on the real, and this is what it is. So, baby girl and I got to go pick up the coach on the weekend. It was I got someone calling me. I'm going to go ahead and deny it. That's how I do that, by the way. All right, with a little bit of music every time I do it too. So we're picking up the coach. We're bringing it home. We decide, my decision. Hey, let's bring Olivia. Olivia is our oldest, dog. She's pit bull, 9 years old or so. Got just an atrocious overbite, right? Just a ding dong pit bull, and doesn't like sounds. Got the timids everywhere, but she can definitely get the growls and the barks. Nothing really comes after that, but that's sort of what you get. So we get home. My sister and I, we get home first because Karen is still driving the coach, and then sort of SOP is that she calls when she's about a minute out, and then help her navigate down the road and then turn into the driveway and whatnot. So she's all doing that. We're getting all the gates opened. Olivia's not wearing a collar because she went with us, in the car. And obviously she hasn't heard the coach yet, or she had been, running around and getting in the house. So she's out with the gates and all these things. And this older couple walks by. He's got a smaller dog on a leash, and she's going, I'm just going to assume it's his wife. She's got two bigger dogs on a leash. So 3 dogs in total. My dog, of course, sees those dogs, and it's time to get thick. So she starts doing her thing, and then she starts running down the driveway. And she got a harness on, like the whole thing, right? And for a moment, I'm sort of like smiling just because it's like, oh, you don't really get to see this. This is sort of interesting, And then that word just clearly got shot and thrown in the dirt, because then all of a sudden it just got different. So my caregiver, she walks down and gets a dog, and they're clearly upset. The husband more so, and he starts to really, really use a lot of language. Now, thankfully, that language wasn't towards my assistant or wasn't towards me. I don't think he could really see me. It was all just really focused about what he would do to the dog, if he had been carrying his gun, which he normally does. And clearly got all that based on the words. And it was just real thick, right? Just real quick. And no one got hurt, right? Nothing really moved into. I mean, just a bunch of barking and posturing, growling, all that stuff. And I get it, man. My dogs have been attacked before. That's not a fun space. So you're just sort of processing all, but man, he really is verbally just sharing a lot of his thoughts. And a lot of his thoughts just didn't really line up with sort of what my thoughts were. So, dogs are good, everybody's good, and this older couple walking away. Boo Boo hadn't called yet, right? So I'm just still sitting on that driveway, and everything is fine. And I'm just layered in there going, "You idiot, you dummy, you crippled dude, you can't do squat. Look what happened. You can't even do this. Look at this, you fool." Right? And I'll spare you the other 900 things. That all came out in about 2 milliseconds. And I'm like, man, how do you turn the knob down, right? On the volume knob? How do you hit the mute buttons, man? Can you eject the tape? How do we turn off the critics and the audits and the self? And I just couldn't. Um, and that's just me naming that out loud to you. That really can actually be more of a disability than peeing through a tube, right? Or pooping on a commode, right? The mentals, man. So I'm sitting there, everything is fine. Everything is fine. This was maybe 80 seconds. And I'm trying to process what my thoughts are. What do I do? And I've been really trying hard. I listened to a gentleman named TD Jakes was talking, and I don't know when it was filmed, but I watched last week, and talking about the concept and the model of when you speak, don't be offensive. When you listen, don't be defensive. And to always leave, your opponent or the other side with their dignity. So that starts popping up in me, and I like that song about how do you find the beauty in the letdown, and because letdown is just everywhere. How do you define beautifully broken? If we're all broken, how do we demonstrate beautifully broken, right? So wrestling. Boo Boo hasn't called yet, and I'm like, man, I'm really struggling with the language that talked about shooting my dog. And I'm like, man, I was shot. Getting shot's not good. Getting shot's not cool. Getting shot's not fun. Getting shot blows. And I'm like, what am I going to do with that? Do I sit with that? No, I don't sit with that. So I start wheeling down the driveway. And I'm like, all right, when you speak, you don't be offensive. And when you listen, you don't be defensive. And you better leave those two with dignity. Because you yourself have a PhD in not having dignity. This world does good at removing my dignity. Real good. Don't play into that, bro. Don't play into it. So I'm wheeling after him. I finally catch up to him, and the lady turns around, and then quickly the three of us know what we're all doing. Right now we have a 90-second human, just human. And I just start with, I want to apologize about my dog. I'm glad my dog didn't hurt you or hurt your dogs. I didn't feel like she would. Regardless, that was not a fun space to be in, and I apologize for it. And he shared about how he gets sensitive because his dog was attacked. I responded with, I understand that, sir. My dogs have been attacked. And I don't want to assume things. I'm just gonna say the lady, she was just, again, we all have our stories. So now she's just complimenting me on my jewelry. She's complimenting me on my wheelchair and talking about how amazing my dogs are and that my dogs always stay where they're supposed to stay. Right. Again, it's 90 seconds of humanness. And then as we sort of start to wrap up, I said, sir, I just want you to know that I was shot. And that's why I'm in a wheelchair. And again, I apologize for my dog. A couple more apologies we do what we do. We split and turn. Of course, Boo Boo calls me like a millisecond after they exchange. She doesn't know what's going on, right? She's all protocols and processes, and that's what I love about her. So, I'm all tearing up as always. And she's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I'm like, "No, let me button it up. Give me a second to button it up, and let's get Big Sexy landed." So we get all that. We took all that, and we had a good dialogue. And the next day, I go to a 5-year-old birthday party. I watch Paw Patrol, Swiper No Swipey, and Rocky. I've been stuff I never thought I'd do before in my life, and it was a lot of fun. I had Jerry's ice cream, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I tell you, I'd rather end on that than a conversation that I had the previous day. So what am I saying to you? What is today's little? What? I got to be in progress, man. I got to be in progress, and I got to be moving. Can't sit still. When you sit, it's like they get you. I got to keep moving, and in some tears, I can't speak into your story, but I know I love you, and I know I respect you, and I know you have value. Learning how to keep going. So if you need to address that in your story, you're grown. Do you? I'm grown, but I'm going to keep going. I got to. I don't know how not to. So if my story helps, great. If don't, move on to the next video. But always with a lot of love and always with a lot of respect. Have a fantastic week.